Climate justice at global level is giving voice to the people who do not have it in the context of international discourse on climate action, international discourse on climate change.
Sudan's no stranger to crisis and is now in the grip of a flooding emergency.
The other most important definition is when those who have caused the problem of climate change, the industrialized countries, own up to their actions of destroying nature and take comparative action in terms of reducing emissions, compensating victims of their actions, and finally reversing the accumulation of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere through radical emission reduction by reverting to non-carbon extensive actions such as renewable energies, dumping fossil fuels, and adopting what we call sustainable mode of consumption and production. If you look at the all assessment reports of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and all scientific analysis, they are going to end with one conclusion, that there is one region which is the most impacted by climate change, and that is the African continent. This is the continent which, despite absorbing the worst effects of climate crisis, has contributed negligibly on the accumulation of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So this is contradiction, that here is a region which has very little to do with the crisis which we are in, but at the same time is the continent and is the region which suffers the impacts of the problem we have not caused. So now that's what we are saying as Africa. We really need to be at the conversations. May it be at action itself, interventions at project level, interventions in the conversations. These are called procedural justice. You cannot do it for me if you are the one who have caused the problem. When we were crafting the concept of Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice to inform and define conversations, we expanded beyond the limit of science and environment. Whereas at global level, the conversations on climate change have expanded beyond that level. In Africa, we are still hold up within the constituency of science and environment. So by having this Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice is a deliberate effort to expand these conversations so that people, Africans, will understand that climate change is the cause of what they are finding in their farms, in agricultural sector, in the water sector. So we want to expand the conversations. Unfortunately, we wanted to have the summer school this year, 2020, but as you know, because of the COVID-19 disruption, we have postponed it to next year. But the most important thing is that despite the fact that we are not going to have a fiscal meeting, the University of California, Santa Barbara, has offered these platforms to continue the conversation. Even on their platform, we are already developing a curriculum on the same to ensure that now we expand it and we make it a major subject, a major issue in Africa. It is going to work because it has brought together the most important institutions and the networks which are working on climate justice. So we have no doubt that we have really set that foundation, and we hope it is going to work. There are those who feel that the COP process under the UNFCCC is a waste of time, because we have been, it's like an endless game of musical chairs. Every time, year in, year out, we are in these conferences, and some people feel that it doesn't help. The action actually, according to most of them, particularly in the climate justice movement, is outside here. But for us as PACJA, we believe in inside-outside action. While we are fighting from inside, because that is where policies are made. That is where issues are shaped, even before they come at national and regional level. So we cannot just abandon it, because at the end of the day, we want that language of climate justice to go into the negotiations. And then when we come with it out here, we are not going to be stuck, because we'll have shaped that policy so that we push for implementation. Mark you, even implementation on the right way and giving a space to the people at the local level is actually part of climate justice. So these processes are never isolated. We have to engage in all processes, particularly in the implementation of the NDCs, nationally determined contributions, in the implementation of the Paris Agreement, where we need actually to give power to the people, to the membership of PACJA at a very local level, smallholder farmer, that woman at the local level in the Congo Basin. You see, in the Congo forest, who do not have a voice. That fisher folk in Lake Victoria, who do not have a voice. You know, those people living in Mount Kenya, at the foot of Mount Kenya, without rivers, without water. How do we give them a voice? So we really need to mobilize them at local level in what is emerging as locally led climate action. That bottom up. Actually, that is the implementation of what we are calling climate justice. So you see, we need to connect the UNFCCC, African level, at the African Union level, then at national level, then at grassroots level. But we need to overturn the ship so that now it becomes now bottom up. The Kenyan farmer, fishmonger, indigenous communities in the Mbumbuti forest, those who deal with water, the youth, women will have relevance in the conversations if they are empowered. If we drive that bottom-up climate movement at a local level, owned by the people, strengthening the movement through self-help, voluntarism, that is when we are going to ensure that now we give people power. But the current model of operation, UNFCCC trickle down at national level, sometimes it ends there. But if communities are lucky, they are going to have some intermittent conversations just as decoration. That will not work. For us, we are building a grassroots movement through a bottom-up, community-led, community-owned initiatives. When this is facilitated by sufficient resources, finance and capacity, that is when we are going to solve the climate crisis. When you see these awards, the latest being the Earthcare International Award in 2019 from Sierra Club, the largest environmental movement in the United States. And such movements actually inspire us in Africa, and them recognizing you. Last year, I was named as one of the 100 most influential people on climate policy in the world. And to us, that's actually a recognition of 10 years of consistent work by Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance in the work which we do, of course, with our partners. So this actually is the victory not only for us, because when we set to establish this movement 10 years ago, we wanted to give ourselves a voice. And this actually one of the indicators that our voice and our visibility has been manifested.